Hey guys, welcome to 6 by 2 inches vlog. Today we are going to study theories of emotion. And I could not record in last week due to some technical issues, but I'm back again and I will be uploading 4 times a week. And then based on it, I will be conducting a weekly test. So do go through the videos as well as previous week's video. You can go to the playlist and check psychology lectures. You will get all the videos there. So let's begin. Okay, so what is emotion? We Most of the times we confuse emotion with feelings. Like feeling is sensation, yes, exactly. I mean, when you say I am feeling sad, that sadness is emotion, and feeling is something which you are feeling, which is perceiving, or you're sensing. So that's feeling. Now let's talk about emotion. Emotions are subjective states of being that, physiologically speaking, involve physiological arousal, psychological appraisal, and cognitive processes, subjective experiences, and expressive behavior. Emotions are often the driving force behind motivation, whether positive or negative, and are expressed and communicated through a wide range of behaviors such as tone of voice and body language. Okay, so emotions are subjective states. That is, emotion varies from person to person. Like if a person is in same some situations such as like failure, take failure, exam failure. So both, if there are two people, then both of them would experience different kind of emotion. For example, some pessimistic person might say it as like, my whole life is a failure now. But if a person is optimistic, then he might feel emotions such as like, okay, no problem, I failed in this exam, next time I will work harder. So that's why it's subjective. And whenever you feel or experience any kind of emotions, that time you experience physiological arousal. Go through the biopsychology lectures. We have seen the importance of sympathetic and sympathetic nervous system. So it plays role in emotions. Like whenever you're experiencing, for example, fear, your sympathetic nervous system is activated. So it's like both physiological and psychological arousal takes place. And there is also cognitive processes going on inside your mind, like you're thinking, you're labeling the emotions, plus as well as you express it through your behaviors, and it could be verbal or non-verbal in the sense it could be expressed through your body language or the tone of your voice. And also this second thing is important, that situations and your past experiences related to that situation can also play role in the way you're interpreting the present situation which is happening to you. So for example, if 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 you had been like harmed by some dog in the past, and you experienced intense pain, then you might experience fear the next time you see the dog. So so uh, in this way, the past experiences also plays role in interpretation of this situations or emotion, like what kind of emotion you would experience. Okay, and here is second thing. Most of the times we confuse emotion and mood. These two are completely different terms. Okay, so an emotion is a subjective state of being. We have already seen this definition, that we often describe as our feelings. The word emotion indicates a subjective, affective state. Affective means like, affect means you're displaying it through your body language, through your behavior. That is relatively intense and that occurs in response to something we experience. Emotions are often thought to be consciously experienced and intentional, whereas mood refers to a prolonged, less intense affective state that does not occur in response to something we experience. Mood states may not be consciously recognized and do not carry the intentionality that is associated with emotion. Okay, so it's like emotion can change. Emotion is like, uh, we can say climate, like the changing climate, the constantly changing seasons, we can say. For example, if you are angry today, it's not possible you will stay angry forever. It's not possible you will stay or experience sadness forever. So that's your emotion and it's subjective and it keeps changing. But mood, on the other hand, it is stable. It is not intense as emotion, but the mood stays stable over the period of time. For example, when we will study mood disorders, for example bipolar disorder or unipolar disorders like depression. Bipolar means like there are two extreme poles, sadness at one end and happiness or euphoria at the second end, so there is no stability in the mood. So the normal person usually experiences a stable, prolonged and less intense mood. So this is the difference between emotion and mood. Okay, so the components of emotions are is the combination of physiological arousal, that is when you're sympathetic, for example, sympathetic when it gets activated, the sympathetic nervous system, then you will experience your heart racing. Or if you're calm state, you're in a calm state, then parasympathetic would result in a reduced and stable heartbeats and psychological appraisal like perception also, like you're interpreting a danger or you're having a cognitive processes going on inside your mind. And then the third component is subjective experiences, because it's subjective, it's not like objective. Universally it's not possible for all humans to experience the same kind of emotion in the given situation. It varies and depends on the person's past experiences with similar kind of uh, experience with similar kind of situation. So these are the three components of emotion, and we are going to study these theories. These are most important theories. I have also covered other theories as well, like facial feedback hypothesis, and then okay, so then this is the three most important theory that you must like memorize it and learn the differences between all the three. Like after going through the slides, you yourself write down on the paper what differences you see in these theories. I will go through it in a quick revision in the next lecture, but still we will just have a look at the theories. The first one is James Lang theory of emotion. Second is Cannon-Barrett theory of emotion, and third is Scatter-Singer two-factor theory. Okay, so according to the James Lang theory of emotion, emotions arise from physiological arousal. For example, first the physiological reaction takes place, then you will experience the emotion. For example, if you see the growling dog at you, then at first, instead of experiencing the fear, which is an emotion directly, instead of that, you will first experience physiological arousal such as increased heart rate, like your heart will start beating fast when you see a growling dog, and then you will experience fear. So this is where first there is a physiological arousal, then there is emotion. That is James Lang theory of emotion. Now, according to the Cannon-Barrett theory, it's somewhat different from the James Lang theory. James Lang said that the first you will experience physiological arousal, okay, then you will experience emotion. But the Cannon-Barrett theory, it says that physiological arousal and emotional experience occurs simultaneously, yet independently. It means that if you see a growling dog, you will experience emotion, which is fear, and your increased heart rate, which is physiological arousal at the same time. There will be no difference in the time, it will occur simultaneously at the same time, just after encountering any kind of emotion provoking stimulus. So, that is the Cannon-Bard theory. And to differentiate it from the James Lange theory, the only difference is that in James Lange theory, there is first physiological arousal, and in Cannon-Bard, there is both, like emotion plus physiological arousal occurring at the same time. Now we will be studying the third theory, which is the Scatter-Singer two-factor theory. And according to it, it is called two factor because first there is a physiological arousal, which is your body's response to the stimulus, and second there is cognitive process or cognitive level, we can say. For example, when you encounter a stimulus which is a growling dog, again we have taken the same example, there will be physiological arousal, that is increased heart rate. And now at this point, your brain will say, okay, that is scary. After experiencing this physical reaction of your body, your brain will label it as whether it is scary, whether it is amusing, whether it is happy or sad or aggressive response of your body towards the stimulus. There will be a cognitive level, there will be a cognitive process, and then you will experience emotion, which is fear. So the difference is, we have seen two theories, right? The first one is James Lange. There is no such thing as cognitive label in James Lange. So in second also there is no cognitive label. We have seen that physiological arousal and emotion are occurring at the same time. But in this two-factor theory, there is addition of two components, which is physiological arousal and cognitive label. Okay, so now we are going to study facial feedback hypothesis. According to the facial feedback hypothesis, facial expressions are not only the results of our emotions but are also capable of influencing our emotions. In other words, the act of smiling can itself actually make you feel happier. So you can try it now yourself. If you're feeling sad, like think of some sad moment, like imagine something sad in your mind, and if you are seeing yourself in the mirror, you will observe the changes in your facial muscles, like you will observe your face as sad. Or if you think of some angry moment, any anger provoking moment which you have experienced in your life, you will feel the same expressions on your face. But you can control what you're feeling or experiencing at such time. If at such time you smile, like for example, if you're feeling sad, okay, but at such time if you're smiling, you're continuously smiling although you're feeling sad, then at one point you will start feeling happier. It will influence your emotion, like you can control your emotions. So according to this facial feedback hypothesis, so our expressions are not just results of our emotion, it's vice versa. Like it can also influence our emotions, like our expressions can also influence our emotions. And research has also uh, proposed that suppressing facial expressions of emotion may decrease how intensely those emotions are expressed. So, for example, if you're angry, try to not show that, try to suppress that from your facial expressions, and you will see that you are experiencing decreased intensity of those emotions. And emotion is displayed not only through facial expression but also through tone of voice, behavior, and body language. And children who have autism spectrum disorder, they have difficulty recognizing the emotional states of others. This is because research has shown that This may stem from an inability to identify facial expressions and other nonverbal expressions of emotion, which is one of the symptoms in autism spectrum disorder. They fail to recognize expressions of emotion, or they are unable to express any kind of emotion. Okay, so this is also one of the most important theory. Please mark it. I forgot to mention it in the first slide where I have written the three important theories. You might get confused with two-factor theories and this Lazarus cognitive appraisal theory. There is a difference which I will explain after explaining this theory first. So first, let's understand this theory. Okay, so Lazarus cognitive appraisal theory means first understand the word appraisal. You might have heard this test name, right? Thematic apperception test. Okay, so perception means the way we are making senses or interpreting the sensations which are coming from outside. Okay, so that is perception, which is meaningful sensation. And apperception means that the way we are interpreting or like perceiving the world, and the way we think the others around us are perceiving us, that is called apperception. So here the word appraisal is important because it means we will be perceiving thought, like there will be a thought first before experiencing the emotion. Now you will think what is the difference between the two-factor theory, because there is also cognitive process going on in the two-factor theory. But there is a difference. In two-factor theory, we have seen that physiological reaction takes place first, and then we label the physiological reaction. That is cognitive labeling, right? But in Lazarus cognitive appraisal theory, first the thought will take place when you encounter any kind of stimulus. For example, the it is divided into two stages. Okay, the primary and secondary appraisal. Primary appraisal, it means like you will ask the questions like what does this stressor or situation mean, and how can it influence me. Or the secondary appraisal, it can actually happen simultaneously with the primary appraisal. Okay, so it might involve those feelings related to dealing with the stressor or the stress it produces, uttering statements like I can do it if I do my best, or if this way fails I can always try another method. These thoughts can come to your mind. So it is like positive appraisals. Okay, that is positive interpretation or thought. But in other condition, or if you say this to yourself, cognitive process I'm talking about, if you think statements like I can't do it, I know I will fail, I don't believe that I can do it, then it indicates negative secondary appraisal, or you can say negative appraisal. For example, even in the primary appraisal, if you are considering or seeing the situation as a threat, then you will obviously experience negative emotions. But if you are seeing the stressor as challenging situation, then you won't experience any negative emotions. So, in short, I can give you one example. For example, if a dog is coming, okay, consider this situation that is, dog is in front of you. So the first thought will be, okay, is this dog going to harm me? If yes, then you will experience fear. So the first activity which is going on here is your cognition. That is a thought you're asking yourself. Then you are going to experience the emotion. So if you know that dog is your pet dog, so obviously won't be afraid. Like there will be a positive appraisal that no, this dog is safe for me. It's not going to harm me. So this is one of the example. Okay, so in Lazarus theory, thought must come before any emotion or physiological arousal. You must first think about your situation before you can experience any kind of emotion. But in two-factor theory, we have seen it's like stimulus, then physiological reaction occurs, then you label it cognitively, cognitive process happens, and then you experience the emotion. But in Lazarus theory, when you encounter stimulus, you will first, the first process will be cognitive process, then only there will be physiological process plus emotion. You will experience the emotion. This is the difference between Lazarus theory, cognitive appraisal theory, and two-factor theory. So, for example, you're walking down a dark alley late at night, you hear footsteps behind you, and you think it may be a mugger. So you begin to tremble. Your heart beats faster, and your breathing deepens. And at the same time, you experience fear. So this is the example of Lazarus theory, because you hear the footsteps of someone, and you think that it might be a thief or someone, or it might be a serial killer. You never know, so that's why you're experiencing fear. But if you think it is your friend or someone you know, then you will experience a positive emotion. So this is the difference between two factor and Lazarus theory. Okay, so now let's quickly do a concept check. So the first question is, you feel your heart pounding when your friend purposely breaks your favorite toy. You interpret the arousal as anger. This fits the idea behind which of the theory of emotion. So the options are A. Canon Bad, B. Darwin, C. Two-factor theory of emotion, D. James Lamb. Take your time and try to answer it. Then go to the next slide for the answer. Okay, so the correct answer is two-factor theory of emotion, because you're interpreting, there is a word mentioned, interpret. You interpret it as an anger, like your heart is pounding. So that's two-factor theory of emotion. You're using cognitive labeling in it. So this is the correct answer. Okay, so the second question is, you feel your heart pounding and experience surprise at the same time. This is an example of which of the following theory of emotion. The options are A. Canon Bard, B. Lazarus, C. James Lang, or is it D. Facial feedback hypothesis? Try to answer it by yourself, pause the video, and then go to the next slide. Okay, so the correct answer is cannot bad theory of emotion, because you're experiencing physiological reaction and emotion at the same time. Hence, the correct option is A. Okay, so thanks for watching. Do subscribe and share the video with your friends, and stay tuned for more upcoming conceptual videos related to NET, JRF, set psychology, and for MCQs, which will be uploaded once a week based on the all the lectures which I will be sharing from Monday to Saturday. So do go through the videos. Thank you.